Yeah, so I manage 8 staff across logistics, planning, warehousing and the export division. Day to day is generally focused on the sales and operations planning side of the business, so trying to optimise our planning wherever we can to make the best decisions to make the most dollars for Ridley in the end. Largely that revolves around some sort of Excel modelling skills, working through financial modelling where we can cut costs out of the business through our supply chain or where we can add value to margin through the business. So at Ridley, I started as a business planning graduate and had no knowledge of Ridley or really any ag background whatsoever. Came into that role, which really helped me understand a bit more around the industry and particularly through Ridley. Went from that role into a supply chain analyst role. Probably did that for a couple of years before moving into IT for probably 18 months doing a business systems transition process sort of role. Was a business integration manager was I think the title at the time. And then went from there back into where I've spent most of my time, I guess, is in the analytics space around doing some demand planning and some forecasting modelling, and then eventually went into the planning logistics space in the last sort of 12 months. I'm not sure really. I suppose the role itself is quite broad and has, I guess, a lot to work through. So at the moment it's more continuing to sort of develop my skills. I'm not from a supply chain background. So part of that's been a bit learning on the job and utilising the skills I've had from other parts of my career at Ridley to apply that to the current role and just seeing where that goes. I didn't know I was interested in food and fibre industry really until I'd applied. I didn't know anything of Ridley or Barrastock or anything until I drove out to the interview. I'd done some research on it prior to getting there to understand what they did and just found that since being in it, like you work with really passionate people about, it's their livelihood as well as their lifestyle and people are really, what they do at work is what they do at home and they're really passionate about all those things. So I find it's something that keeps things really interesting and it's not just facts and figures, it's people's lives, so it's been really good. Yeah, I guess working in ag, I've been now in it 11 years and didn't really know much of it coming in, but I've just found you really work with really good people who are passionate about what they do, and I think that when you can see that you're such an integral part of the food chain and you see these Coles ads and everything else where they're sort of talking about they're really getting back to that base and we're a step before that of feeding the animals that eventually end up on the plate of everyone around Australia. So to have that sort of link in, it's something that you can be quite proud of when sometimes you are just doing your work which it's just numbers or you don't see that end game, but I think being in an industry like this you really get to see the hands-on of where it ends up. I think the perception's generally that it's quite a simple process and in some degrees manufacturing feed is, but at the same time there's a lot of moving components and things like the weather and the likes that can really turn things upside down and particularly around the supply chain side of things and you have the best laid plans and things turn around very quickly and you're not dealing in monthly buckets many of the times, it's the daily, the hourly stuff that sort of turn things on its head. So it really challenges your skills and the abilities that you bring in to question where the textbooks sort of get thrown out the window a bit and you've just sort of got to use your skills and your instincts to try and work through some problems. So it's a really good area to get in and really test yourself out.